Hey everyone, welcome back. And for those of you that are new here, thanks for joining me. Well, today, this video is a little different from our normal videos. I realize that it is a very long one, thus doing things a little differently by talking to you up front to show you the things not to do, and also so you can see the problems I had, all up front with this little shaker coaster. By all means, if you can watch it in its entirety, so you get a real understanding of what went wrong along the way. There was a lot. I'd really appreciate you doing so if you can. But for now, let me start out by saying what a pain in the ass this thing was. I'm going to list out one by one up front right now as to the issues that I encountered as I tried to create this thing. And hopefully you can learn from them. Feel free to fast forward after that to hit the parts and find the parts where you can see it in more detail of the problems as I encountered them. I'm not going to edit this video, the remainder of the video, very well. I'm probably just going to throw each piece on there just so, like I said, you can fast forward to each section and, like I say, find the mistakes that happened, find the problems that I encountered, and learn from them, because it was a challenge, a big challenge. With that being said, let's start. Okay, number one, your little bobas and candy pieces or ice cubes, fruit pieces, whatever you want to call them. Do not dome your pieces in your mold. Do not fill them all the way to the top. I mean, you can get them almost to the top, but I would recommend you not to take them all the way to the top of your mold, because what happens is if they're too big, they stick. All the ones up in here, there's one that does come down, but this one that is kind of flat here, and also in the corner, there were a little bit larger, more domed, I'm going to say, in my mold. Thus, they are stuck and they do not move. They do not come out. Here's another one here. They do not come out. They're too large for the diameter of inside here, and they are wedged up in there and stuck. So do not overfill your molds. Number two is in the bottom of your mold, your cup mold, you have this little piece in there. You see that? Yep. That is your hole that will make the hole for your cup that you can fill it with your water. Okay, so when you're making your piece, after it is done and you take it out and demold it, do not make that hole larger. My thought was I wanted to make that hole, fill hole, which was right here on my on the cup. I wanted to make it just a little bit larger to accommodate my water bottle needle tip, which fit to the top. It's stuck onto the top, and really hindsight, if I started pushing, squeezing my water bottle, water would go down in there. But my thought process was that I needed it to go, the needle itself to go all the way into the hole so I could fill this up with, the water. And really you don't need to. So what I wound up doing was taking a little piece of sandpaper, and I made that little entrance hole thing there a little bit larger. And really, I did not need to. I made it a little larger, a little deeper to accommodate this sitting in there. I didn't want my top cover popping off, and that's why I did it. But you don't need to stick the whole needle, you know. Well, my needle just went inside my bottle, but you don't need to stick the whole needle inside that hole. As long as it's on the top and you start, you know, squeezing your water from it this way, it will go in. So that was number 2. Do not make your opening hole larger. And we'll touch base on that more later. Number 3 is when I went to actually fill this, I did a combination of mineral oil and distilled water. And I ran into so much trouble. Oh my gosh. You guys, if you can, fast forward to that part of the video that you can see where I, you know, was trying to fill it, and the oil made all these pieces stick and they wouldn't move at all. Even though it was a mixture of oil and water, which I've read, that's what a lot of people do. For some reason, it did not work for me in this mold. I tried everything, but all these pieces just stuck together against, you know, inside there. They were stuck in place. They wouldn't move at all. That oil just like adhered them. It was too thick, and it acted more like a glue than being able to freely, you know, shake inside the shaker. This is just distilled water in here, and as you can see, they move really nice and freely and at a good speed. Yes, I know my water level is low here is because I, you know, just for the sake of finishing this, yeah, I didn't fill it the remainder of the way up just so I could finish this video for you guys. I actually started this video and started making this coaster almost 5 months ago, but I got so frustrated with it that I threw it off to the side, and I'm just now coming back to it to finish it and have some closure on it, but also so you guys can kind of, like I say, learn from it. All right, where are we at? Number 4. Number 4 is when you go to fill your hole, your filling hole, do not use epoxy. Yeah, do not use epoxy resin. Can you see what that looks like there? What you have to do is, you know, your water is down here, right? So you have to tip it upside down. Here's your hole. I thought I'd be smart and I put a little epoxy in there. I even went to the realm of trying to take a big clump of the gold flake, rose gold flake, and had the epoxy in there and shoved it in the hole. All it did was run down. Epoxy takes way too long, and with me, again, going back to what I was saying about do not make that hole larger, epoxy, I made that hole a lot larger, and then the epoxy just wound up running right down into the cup or the coaster itself. So yeah, you know, I read, yeah, you need UV resin. I didn't have UV resin. I do now, which I'm glad I have it now. But yeah, for the sake of this video, we did not have it. I have it now. I closed up my hole just so I could finish off this coaster and finish off this video, and like I said, have some closure for it. So those are the 4 main things that really, again, went wrong. I had frustrations, I had troubles with, but we're gonna finish this. And you know, I hope you guys, you know, learn from my mistakes and you'll get something out of this. It is a cute and fun coaster, shaker mold. And will I try doing this again with what I know? Absolutely. But like I say, right now my frustration was so high, I had to throw it and put it off to the side because it just gave me way too much of a headache. Again, hopefully you guys learn from it, and hopefully you guys like this content on this one. And let me see if you guys do make any of these. Let me know what you have, your successes, your failures. Hopefully you won't repeat my failures. With all that, let's get into the videos. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Hey, I got a new thing in today. Can you see it? This mold is a shaker mold, and it comes with a little mold for coffee beans, ice cubes, your like lemon, lime, whatever citrus you want to put in here. And these took me a while to figure out what these are supposed to be, but I finally come to the conclusion they are for boba. And if anybody doesn't know, with Asian drinks, Thai tea and any kind of iced type of drinks, they will put boba in it, little black tapioca pearls. So, well, there's different types, but the more common one known is boba, which is like a black in color, or dark, deep brown. Anyway, needless to say, that is the accessories for the actual shaker cup, which is here. So you have the cup mold. It's got a nice deep side well and a raised center, because what you do with the raised center is you have this really thin where you put just a clear resin coat in here, and when you're done, this will sit on top of your coaster mold, your main coaster mold, and you fill the insides of it up with liquid, or your little liquid with your little ice cubes, coffee beans, fruits, whatever you so choose to put into it. If you want to make it a teacup, or you want to make it a coffee cup with the little coffee beans. Yeah, and then it also has a holder that will hold 4 coasters. The only downside of this set that I got is that it only comes with 1 coffee mold, so I can only make 1 at a time. But for our experimenting and seeing how this works, that's all we need to show you guys and how it works. One thing that I did notice that I can kind of look up close, you can kind of see the lines here. That is your base support on the bottom, okay? But can you see that little spot right there? That one there? If I turn it over, see that in there? These, it's all smooth. You don't see these in your actual mold. But this one, let's see if I can get it focused. This one in here actually is raised. See that? And that is your little hole, or your little opening to put your fluid inside when you're done making your coaster. So when you're done, you would put this one on to seal it. You'd have your little hole opening, and you would inject some kind of liquid in between to fill it up. And we'll get to that point later. It seems like it's going to be a pain in the butt to do this and assemble it and get it all together. Very tedious, very time consuming, but hey, if you're along for the ride, come join me. So first off, I think what I'm going to do is, let me get these out of the way. I'm going to bring you guys down a little bit closer. And I have this acrylic marker. And I'm thinking for the fruit, I'm going to outline around the edge and the lines here. Yes, yeah, this marker, I guess I could show you. It has a fat tip or it has a fine point tip, and that's the one we're going to use today, is the fine point. And what I'm going to do is I will go along the edge all in here, and then the center and each line here on the fruits, just to give it a little highlight for the rind. And also I have coffee mica powder, and I think what I will do is we'll paint in for our coffee beans and put a little mica on the inside of these, give it a little bit more of a kind of glowy look, you know, for coffee, instead of it just being a flat matte type of color with a brown resin. So let's see how that goes. I'm going to put you guys on hyperspeed while I do this. I don't think you want to sit through and while I'm painting all those. Oh, hey, almost forgot our ice cubes. What I'm going to do for the ice cubes is I have an iridescent blue, and I don't know if you can see that in the light, but it just picks up just a hint of blue in there. And I'm going to put just a tiny bit of this into my resin, actually mix it into the resin when we pour for our ice cubes. So hold on to your seats. Let's fast forward you, and you can see me as I do this. So there we go, guys. What do you think? See that a little bit of kind of a coffee bronzy color for those coffee beans? And how did our lines turn out for our rinds of our fruit? I didn't make them fancy. I didn't want to make it solid. Kind of see in here how I just left it streaky looking. I purposely did that all along because I didn't want it to be like a solid white line. I just wanted it to kind of give a little emphasis as to the rind of the fruit. So to show that it's actually a slice of citrus. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up all of our resin. I measured out all our pieces and how much each one takes. I know that this one takes only 10 ml. This one, the coffee cup itself, a frame of it, is going to take 30 ml. This, the holder, takes 50 ml. And I'm kind of going to have extra that I'm going to use maybe 10 ml or so for our fruits. And also I have another project that I'm working on that I can use just a small amount of clear for that. So I'm going to mix up a total of 120 mLs of resin, and hang tight. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I did mix up my resin. I had 120 mLs that I had mixed up. I am using the Let's Resin epoxy resin. If you can see that, hopefully it's not too huge there, but parts A and part B are equal amounts, so you do it by volume. Let's Resin recommends to do it by volume and not by weight. So again, I used 60 mLs of part A, 60 mLs of part B. and I separated them off knowing how I'm going to be mixing them, and I will show you some of them in just a moment. What I've decided to do is it takes about 20 mLs just to fill the rim here, and as I said earlier, 50 mLs for the holder. I'm going to do those exactly the same. So what I've decided for those is I'm going to take clear epoxy and add in a little rose gold leaf, and I'm thinking just a little bit of this like rose gold kind of coppery looking glitter to go along with it. We'll see how that turns out. So that will be again in the inner rim of the cup, and also the holder of the cup once they're done, the coaster holder. What my plan is after I pour that, then I'm going to put clear on top, so this part of it will remain clear. So with that being said, let's move on to adding in our clear for our little window of our shaker mold. And this one doesn't take much. When I measured it out, it was about 10 mLs. So yeah, it's not going to take too much to fill this one. We'll put it in here, and then we'll just kind of let it sit off to the side while we mix up our others. Let's see how that goes. Okay. See if we can get it to level off a little bit. And yes, I am not wearing a glove on my right hand. Anybody know the reasoning for that? I bet you can guess it. If not, I'll tell you. Can't operate my phone functions without this finger. So yeah, I wind up using one glove when I'm taping. We almost went over. Come on, get down in there. Well, you know, I bet you it would be a heck of a lot easier if I used my little handy dandy tool with the silicone tip, right? I love these things. Let's get him down there. There we go. Pop any of these bubbles that I'm seeing. Actually, I could have done without a little bit in there. Let me look off to the side and see. No, it's just about leveled right off. So that should be pretty good. Let me get this bubble here. Any others we're seeing? Can you see any, guys? Oh, there's another one. Poke him. Hey, come on, get out of there. There we go. How about our edge? I see a couple small ones down here. This one's gonna be stubborn. Come on, get out of there. Oh, one more. There. Let's run along our edge really quick. Make sure we don't have any bubbles hanging out there. Oh, there's one. Come on, guys, get off of that edge. I don't need you guys ruining my testing project. There. As long as you can pull them off the side and get them like here in the middle, then if you squirt it with alcohol, that'll help to just pop them. But the biggest thing is trying to get them off the edge. Okay, that should be good. Let's give it a little squirt. Oops, sorry about bumping you guys. Let's put you back in frame. There we go. Okay, let's squirt. Squirt, squirt. I'm doing just small little pumps, but there. Did it pop it? Yeah, this one is, he's a little bit deeper. There we go, I think we got it. Yes, no, maybe so. There we go, now I know I got it for sure. All right, that's it for the cover. Again, this one is so thin and doesn't take much. So let's slide him out of the way. And we're gonna work on this bad boy. So what I decided, like I said, this one is gonna take about 20 mLs to fit in here and 50 for the coaster holder. So what I did was I held back 70 mLs of the clear resin. And what we're gonna do is mix into this our gold leaf. So let's get some of that out. Let's move him up a little bit so we can get you guys in shot. What's going on? Okay, let me find a tweezers. Let's do this guy. Gold leaf, you have to be so careful with it because it goes everywhere. So I'm gonna put a fair amount in here. It may look like a lot, it's a nice big chunk, but once you start mixing it up and it breaks down, yeah, usually it winds up being less than what it seems. So let's get that down in here and mix her up. Get it broken up there. You see that? See how it's breaking up nicely? I don't want to incorporate, you know, too much with the bubbles, so what I do is I kind of take and use my little knife edge of my tool here and slice into it and try to break it up that way. Another thing is I don't like to keep lifting my mixing tool up and down too much to incorporate more bubbles in there. So, but I try to push that foil down and chop it down on the bottom that way too. So there are different methods, whatever works for you, you know, works, but experiment what does work. I try various things. That looks pretty good, nice and chunky, right? And that's what I want it kind of still chunky. I don't want it fine, but yet I don't want too much too. I want just a hint of it. That's why I decided maybe with adding a little bit of this glitter, it might help fill in. I don't want it solid. I want to leave that clearness of a cup kind of effect, but yet still have some fun colors. Okay, I'm trying to get this lid off of, there we go, off of this glitter, and it's being a little stubborn. So here we go. Let's get you back a little bit more so you can see how much I'm putting in. I don't want much, just want a little bit of kind of color. Let's try that and see how it is. Oh, that looks nice together. Yeah, I might go with a little bit more. Yeah, what do you think, guys? I don't, like I said, I don't want to do too much. I just want like a hint of fun mixed in there. But I'm thinking that's a little too light. What do you think? Yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to add just a little bit more. Not too much. Not too much though. I don't want to overpower it and overdo it. Gosh, this cap is tight on this glitter. I don't know if you heard it pop when I put it back on, but coming off, whoa. Let's do a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. Okay, we should be good with that amount. Hear that snap? Yeah, that's a tight cap, which is good. I'm not complaining by no means. The less glitter that I have floating around my my crafting area, the better. As we all know, glitter is a pain in the butt. There we go. All right. I think that's a little bit better there. What do you think? Just a hint, but it's still not too much. Enough, but not too much. And that's what we want. Okay, so now let's pour into our coaster mug here and our coaster mold and see how it goes. I'm gonna start on the side and just kind of work my way around, trying really hard not to get any on the top. Top meaning this part. I can tell that there's going to be an air pocket there, so it's not going to allow it to go down, but I will come back and I will kind of use my tool and work it in there. This is my first time trying this, so it's again, it's a trial and error type of thing, guys. Let's see what happens. So far, so good. Besides my little splotch here. Let's tuck him in over here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let me clean there was resin on my mixing stick. And of course I got it on my handy dandy foam finger. Here, let me grab another mixing tool. We'll get a clean one out here. For now, let's kind of move this stuff around. Kind of get rid of any kind of air pockets that's being caused inside here. The bottom edge that it's not allowing the resin to go down. There. What do you think? You guys like it so far? I think it's kind of different. I figured this first one, what I'm going to do is, I guess I could have said that, I'm making this one into a teacup, and we're going to use the fruit slices. And then maybe what I'll do is a part 2, and we'll do the coffee cup. Leave a comment for me down below and tell me what you think. Would you like me to see me do the coffee cup also? I can do that. You know, it's kind of tricky doing these so far. I can tell. I'm one that I don't like messes, so I'm constantly cleaning up while I go. There we go. Okay, I know you don't need to see me clean up, but it's just my thing. I don't like to I like to do it as I go. I think it's a lot easier having a cleaning working surface as you go instead of at the end. what I'm going to do with this puppy is we're going to drop him a few times to see if we can get any other air pockets out of there again. Okay. And, well, I think at this point it's looking pretty good. Some of the foil the resin kind of came up over the edge, which is okay because it's just clear, and we're going to be putting clear on top of this in just a moment. So for now, let's move him up here and bring our mold here. Okay, and let's get the rest of this one poured. In our mold. Now I know that these are gonna be, these are open holes, so you don't want your resin on top of them. So really, hindsight, I shouldn't have poured directly on top of these, but I did. And now we're just gonna resolve that by scraping it off. And get down in there, foil. And I'll clean this up also to make sure that no extra epoxy is sitting on the top here, so when you demold it, it doesn't give you those high edges. Okay, let me look at the side. Yeah, that's looking pretty dang good. So I still have a little bit of resin left, which that's what I was hoping for. So I can put the rest in my coaster, the actual coffee cup coaster. So let's scooch this one out of the way again and bring our cup back into view. And let's pour the rest of this back in. I wanted to get the actual coaster holder filled, knowing how much I would have remaining on how to fill this up. I guess get my big hand out of the way, right? How I would fill this, with how much I would have remaining. There we go. Good deal. It worked out good. Okay. Now, all right. That's it for that. Next part we're going to do is I'm going to put a clear sitting on top of that. You want a thin layer of clear on top of here, but I wanted this part to at least have its all the glitter and foil in place, filled up into the well on the side first before I got my clear. So I have my clear actually sitting here ready to go. So let's dump that in the middle. Oh, let me wipe off my stick really quick. Got a little bit of glitter on there. I want to keep this as much as possible, as clear as possible. So that's going to be your window of where your liquid would be, and all your little fruits and things of that nature. So now what we can do is push this out to meet the rest of that epoxy. There we go. So far so good, guys. You know, for my first time doing this type of coaster, it's going better than what I thought. I think the tricky part will be when we go to fill the liquid. It's yeah, that's in sealing that little top frame to this. That's going to be the tricky part. There we go. Looking pretty good. Hopefully on your end you could see. I do see one thing that I don't like. Let me bring a little bit of this foil down here a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, it was just kind of clumped there. It didn't seem like there was really much there at that point. Same here. There we go. Cool beans. What do you think? You liking it so far? Let me get you the light kind of shine in there a little bit. I'm going to turn off my upper light and see if that helps at all. Yeah, a little bit. Get an idea of what it's going to look like. It makes me kind of see now here. I want to pull a little bit of this down more, I think. Play with it and get this very clumpy in here too. Let's pull some of that up. There. Good? Alrighty. Well, that's for that. Here's our mug. Scooch him up, and there's our holder. And let me kind of move it a little bit on there we go, so you can kind of see holder and a mug. Not bad. Okay, let me mix up and we'll have fun playing with our fruits and coffee beans and things of that nature. I'll be right back. So guys, I'm back with a little confession. I said I had to go mix up more resin. Technically yes and no. One of my little cups here, I had sitting off on the side over here, and I bumped it. I had 10 mLs in each of these, and now I got about 5 mLs in each one because I don't want to mix any up right now. We'll see if we can make do with our little beans and ice cubes and fruits with just what we got. Technically, I don't need to do the beans right now because I decided that we're just going to do the ice cubes and fruit, you know, for our particular mold right now. But we'll see. Crap happens, right? So I scraped it all up and I put it back in my cups, and as you can see, I got a lot of micro bubbles in there. So bear with me. We'll see what happens. I'm going to take this cup here, start with, and we're going to start off with adding a little bit of iridescent blue. Can you see that there? There we go. Mica powder to it. Just a teeny tiny bit. I don't want to add much in here at all. Let's get one of my mixing sticks here. Yeah, I just enough to give it a little bit of a hint of like a water type of look. So let's see. Oops. Come on. Just give me a hint. Just a little bit. I don't want much. Let's try that. Hopefully that won't be too much. Throw her in there. Yeah, time has gone by with me trying to clean up my mess after saying how I like to be so nice and neat. And as you can tell, our resin is starting to thicken up. So good that I saved these little pieces of fruit and stuff for last. You know, if I need to mix up a little bit more later, I can do so. But for now, can you see that little bit of blue shimmer in there to give it kind of a water look? You see? Let's see if I can get a little bit closer and it'll... There we go. There. Yes, no, maybe so. A little bit of blue in there. See that? It's a pretty color. So let's, since time is of the essence here, I didn't mix that up very well. Scrape off her sides a little bit more. There we go. And also with our stick. Alrighty, let's get her on in there. I don't know how this is gonna turn out with it being so thick, but we'll do our best. We'll get what we can out of it. Well, so far we got 2. Maybe we'll get 4? 4 little ice cubes? So much for being neat and clean. Oh, what can I say? Do you think? Let's give this guy down here a little bit more instead of trying to force squeezing in another one. I think we'll just use the rest of it to level these off more. Especially this one. This one's quite low compared to the other 3. This one could use a tidge more. There we go. I think we're good for that. Actually, that looks kind of cool. That'll be fun to see when we demold these, what they will look like. Okay, and I'm gonna... Now, when it comes to these 2, I figured I'd start with making this one into a lemon. And what we'll do is start off with some Let's Resin. Gosh, my camera just doesn't want to zoom in. We'll start off with lemon yellow from Let's Resin alcohol inks. Mix it up good here. Not sure exactly how much we'll need. I'll start off with 1, 2, let's try 3. And yeah, this is really thickening up. Not good, not good. But, you know, for sake of our experiment in testing this first one, we're just gonna go with it. To me, I think this is a little light. So let's go for 5. There, that's a little bit better. There we go. How's that? Okay. So let's pour this in for our lemon. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to mix up more because it is gonna fill our lemon up all the way and I won't have any left for our lime. I was hoping that I'd have enough. But, like I said, crap happens. We just kind of move on. Alrighty, let me mix up just a tiny bit. Well, actually, I might as well get enough that I can, do our little coffee beans. And who knows, maybe even throw some in the cup that we can fill in our last little ice cube too. Okay, now I really am going to mix more. Be back. Good morning, guys. We're back and everything is nice and done. It's about 18 hours later, so let's demold these. See what we got. First, let's do the fun with the little citrus fruits, the coffee beans, and the little boba tapioca pearls. Let's see how they turned out. Lemon. Hey, not too bad. All right. See how? Oh, it's kind of cool. Look at the little like texturizing that they have in there in the mold to give it look like a real pulpy kind of fruit look. Oh, I'm glad that I used the white acrylic marker to give the little bit of definition there for the fruit. Kind of cool. Turned out pretty good. What do you think? Does it look like a lemon slice? Hey. And a lime. Same thing. And again, I'm glad that I kind of just barely threw it on there a little bit, just enough to give it a highlight of the rind look without it being too strong. I think that turned out really good. Good decision. At least I think so. What do you guys think? I really think that's cool how they have a little bit of texturizing as the fruit slice. You know, you normally see that. It's kind of cool. Very good. I think these little pearl things are kind of self-explanatory, but we'll take them all out here. And then I'll just put them all in my hand and we'll see it that way. Anybody know about how bubble tea is? Oh, this one's got a little bit of overage I'll have to cut off. But if, you know, anyone knows what bubble tea is and the little black pearls, tapioca pearls that they put in it, I can understand having these in there. Probably could have went with a little bit darker, because I know usually boba, you see they're such a deep dark brown that it's almost like a black looking, but these will do. I'll use these probably in a later one, but for now, I'm glad we did it, and I think it turned out pretty good. Those there. These are the ones that I'm more curious about, are the coffee beans. Here, I'm going to take a couple of them out here. We'll set them in my hand. Coming out. See the little line in the center for the coffee bean? What do you think, guys? I think they turned out pretty cool. I'm glad I used the mica in there first, just to give it a little bit, I think, of more of a sheen, like a coffee bean look. Yeah, it turned out quite well. All right. Okay, let's put these off to the side. I'll demold the rest of the beans later. I don't want the camera to highlight these, so let's get it off, or focus on these, I should say. So let's get it off screen. Next, I think what we'll do is, this is the lens cover. This is what will cover our coffee cup, that you can see the liquid and all of our fun little citrus things inside. Wow, look at how nice and crystal clear that turned out. Very cool, very nice. It's still a little bit bendy. Again, I said we're at the 18-hour mark, but 24 hours is more when it would be hardened. What we got under there? It scared me. I was like, where'd that scratch come from? It's some kind of hair or something. All right. And then our actual coffee cup. Come on, focus in. Come on, camera. There we go. Let's see. Well, it seems to demold very nice and easy so far. I'm going to push this through a little bit because there's nothing covering on top of this. This is supposed to be just like a handle, and this gives you an opening to the handle, so it's like a hole. There's no epoxy resin sitting on top of this. So let's see if we can pop that through. See what I mean? See, just the handle of the cup. Wowzers. Oh, that turned out pretty nice. Let's get these things out of here so my camera doesn't continue to focus on that stuff. Wow, cool. Come the edge. Little coffee cup. And remember I showed you guys that little spout for filling? There it is. So later, let me go and grab this for you really quick. I'm going to show you what I'm going to use to fill it. Bear with me and I'll be right back. Okay. So, I will be using one of these, the needle tips, that I'll be putting mineral oil in later, and possibly colored water. Haven't decided yet, but as you can see, this will fit just perfect inside this hole. When I put this lens cover on top, we'll have to seal this on here. And when I do that, I will have to make sure that I don't cover this hole, and also to make sure that it doesn't raise, you see that? That it doesn't raise my lens, cover that I just put in. You don't want it to pop that off once we put it in. So we want to make sure that this stays clear, our little opening here. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. So probably what I may do is when I go to fill it, I may leave this in there when I'm sealing this around here to keep that, hole open correctly. I know this isn't focusing in very well, but hopefully you can see that. So we'll have to make sure that that hole remains open. There's another angle of it. Okay? All right, not too bad, not too bad. Let's move this off aside, and then last but not least, we have our holder. Again, just like with the opening here on the cup, these slots are all open also. There's no epoxy covering these. So we have to pop those out. Let's go around here first. We'll go around the perimeter. Get that loosened. There we go. And then it kind of it pops out really nice and easy. There we go. See, just that little bit of glitter in there, not too much. Kind of added just a little bit more to it than having just the foil. Okay, so that would go there. Once your coffee cup is done there, it will sit in like so once it's completed. But for now, let's get ready to assemble it. I had to come back quick because I just realized we didn't de-ice our ice cubes. Yeah, let's take those out real quick so I can show them before we use them in our actual, when we go to assemble our little shaker mug. Okay, there we go. See the hint of blue in there? Give it just a little bit of like a water. And there's a little bit of dimension that they have. I don't know if you can see, but the mold is kind of like a ripply, I guess is maybe wavy. So it gives the ice cubes a little bit of dimension. But there you go. Yep, we got the ice cubes too. So we will be using these in when we fill our little coffee cup, teacup. That's what we'll be using. See you in a bit. So I mixed up a little bit of epoxy resin. What we need to do now is put our little candies and ice cubes and fruit slices in here, and we need to seal the lens over it like so. Now I know that a lot of people, what they will do is put UV resin around the perimeter, but I don't have UV resin, so I am using regular epoxy resin. We're going to paint it on the edge, and I am going to leave it rest hopefully for a couple of days to make sure that that seal is good and nice and tight. So with that being said, let's do that. So the first thing we need to do is put our little fun floaty pieces in here. Guess I'm just gonna do this kind of random. Later we will be adding in our liquid, so let's put him here. And I was thinking maybe we should just throw some of these bobas in here. Why not? Something fun, something different. We'll see how it turns out. Make sure that your ice cubes and everything is facing upright, because this will be the view of how we will see it. Let's put this guy up here. There. How's that look? Good? I think so. Now again, this is what it's gonna look like. There's this like little groove here where this part of it here is raised, and when you put the lens on it, the cover on it, it sits right up against there and it doesn't move. So everything fits really nice and easy. So that's one thing I gotta say about these. These are nice molds that fit. So far so good. It seems very nice and tight. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to take my epoxy resin, and I am going to paint a nice little layer here all around this edge to make sure that we get a nice seal, nice tight seal. Hopefully this works. I don't see why it wouldn't, but you know, for first time of me doing it, you know, you always have to question yourself if you're doing the right thing, and that's why I do these little experiments with you guys, so we'll see together whether or not it works, and that way when you decide to go and do it yourself, you'll know what to do and what not to do. Kind of save yourself some time and money when it comes to resin, because as we know, it's very hard to correct yourself when you're doing epoxy resin. It will be what it will be, and the only way to fix it is sanding it, and yeah. It's, again, time and money. So, and we'll go around this whole perimeter, just making sure that I get nice, good coverage, but yet not too much that it's gonna drip and slop out. I don't want that either. There. Get a nice, all around this nice edge. What do you guys think of how that the rose gold foil turned out inside the cup frame or edge, and also the mold, the holder, cup holder, coaster holder, I guess you would call it. I think it turned out kind of cute. I just wanted, you know, something to kind of give it a little blingy, but yet not too out there, I guess. I think it turned out pretty good. Hopefully you don't hear my dogs barking in the background. They're outside. I have my window open in here, so it's a beautiful day here. Sun's out, blue sky, not one cloud in the sky. It's gorgeous. So I figured I did my, well, this morning, went out and did my 3-mile walk, as I do every morning for the most part with the dogs. And I figured I'd come in here and play a little bit before going back outside and enjoying this nice weather while it's here. Alrighty, that looks good. I'm just going to kind of run through really quick here just to make sure that everything is fairly even, and we have coverage. Kind of feel if there's any spots that are missing, but so far it feels pretty good. Oh, you know what I just thought of? And this is what you guys don't want to make this mistake, as I just did, because this right here is our hole for filling. And you know what I did? I painted right over it. Totally forgot about it. So let me set this in here and kind of see if I can clean it out a little bit, because we don't want to seal up our filling hole. Make sure that we get all that epoxy out of there. And yeah, I didn't show you this, guys, but I'm going to tell you what I did do also. Is I laid my cap, my cover, the clear cover here, over, and I put my filling needle in here, and I noticed that it was raised. The needle made the cover raise a little bit. So what I did was I had on my emery board, that's what I used to kind of like file off little tiny pieces of on the edge. I took a piece, the top layer of my emery board, and I just kind of clipped it off. You can kind of see here. See, it's just the, you know, a nail file, and I took this piece off the tip, folded it in half, and I went in there and I sanded that little hole, filling hole, down a little bit more. So when I do put this on, the depth of my needle here sat down far enough that it wasn't going to pop my cover off. So that was one thing that I decided to do. And again, it depends on the depth of your filling needle that you're going to be using, you know, to fill the liquid in here. So be conscientious of that and use your needle as your gauge to how deep you need this to be. You really need it to be flush. So with that being said, let's go ahead and drop this on. And it seems to kind of just seal the rice right down in there into place. It's looking pretty good. I make sure that I get it in there centered good. Push it down just a little bit. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find something to set on here to give it a little weight, to make sure that because I can see it wants to lift a little bit up on top here. Let's slide this down a little bit. Up here it wants to lift when I take my finger off. So otherwise I can see it looks like everything else has got a pretty good seal, except for I'm questioning up here. So yeah, let me get something to weigh this down. What can I find? Maybe I'll have to find something in my room here. Yeah, definitely is lifting up on top when I take my finger off. We don't want that. We want a nice, good, solid seal. So, okay, I will find something and we'll weigh this down a little bit. Something small but yet heavy. Gosh, I'm looking around on my desk here and I just don't have nothing that would be heavy enough and small enough to sit in the center and be utilized for that. But I will find something. And again, we're going to let this sit here. I'm going to let it sit for at least 2 days. I want to make sure that this seal is a good, solid seal. And then I'm going to come back and I'll show you guys how we will be filling it. Alrighty. See you soon. Hey, we are back. It's been a couple of days, guys. I let it sit. Had other things to do, but we are all sealed. I will show you real quick. You can see our little hole to fill here. Let's see if I can get the right angle that you can see it. There you go, on both the top and the bottom. You can see through it. And we will fill there, but the seal looks pretty good. The only thing I can say, let me see if I can get you, there we go, back in focus, is I'm thinking at the end when I go to fill the hole, I may put just a light coating of resin around the whole edge here, just to make sure that we don't have any leakage in the future. So for right now, I did set up my bottles. This one is mineral oil, just good old mineral oil, and I'm sure you can see how it is real slow in moving. And I put that one in a black tipped bottle, and this one is distilled water, and you can see the movement is very much freer. And I chose to put this one in a white tipped bottle so I can tell the difference between the two of them. Excuse my chair squeaking here. But I'm ready to fill this bad boy. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of oil in first. As when this is filled and fully, filled with liquid, if I put enough mineral oil, the oil will sit on the top and float on top of the water. And this will act as a dividing point for what would be our tea, which will be the water part of it. So if I have enough mineral oil that sits just on the top up here, it's going to give us that more of an illusion, I guess you want to say, of it being a tea or a separate liquid within the cup itself. So that's my goal. Let's see if it works. I don't know exactly how much of this it's going to take. I'm hoping that we don't have any leaks at all, but we'll soon find out. Let's see. I'm hoping that with what I did before, my tip will still fit in. Let's see here. There we go. I got it in there. Let's flip it up so you guys can see here. You see? There. Okay, I'm gonna just start squirting in and see. I'm gonna let it go to the bottom just so I can tell how much is gonna fill down there. Let me see if I can make sure that we get you a full shot so you can see the liquid going in there. I think that looks good. I'll lay you down a little more flatter. And I'm glad that I made my little filling hole a little bit deeper to accommodate the size of this, because I don't feel like it's pushing on this lens cap, the cover, at all. So that was a smart idea on my part. So now can you see this? Let me see if I can bring you in a little bit closer. This is all oil down here. To me, I'm thinking that is enough. So I'm gonna remove this out. So far I'm not feeling any leakage down here at all, which is great. Okay. It's just checking for leakage, that's all I'm doing. But that looks like it's be enough liquid for a good separation of our actual tea, which will be the white part. I was really tempted on coloring this, the distilled water, and adding just a hint of color to it to give it more of a tea look. But I kind of changed my mind, as I'm just scared I don't want it to stain anything in here in the future or present or anytime. I don't want any staining or anything to happen. So, and I'm fearful that may help it, or may happen. If you guys know of a way to be able to tint your distilled water so it won't make any kind of discoloration within the things that you make, your little applique things here, by all means tell me in the comments below. Please comment to me and I will respond. I do read them. Yeah, at this point I'm just kind of scared to do so I'm gonna leave it clear for the sake of this experiment. And now let's fill the remaining with water. It's going pretty good. Get some more. You do, I'm not worried about these bubbles, because you do want a little bit of air to be within here. So it's for ease of, oops, I'm kind of shooting out here, for ease of floating, everything to float in there. Whoops, my little needle, I noticed that it had pulled or shoved down inside my bottle. It was getting shorter there. So this needle, for some reason, doesn't want to go, there we go, all the way in. Now it's in. And now I can shorten it. There we go. Much better. We're almost done. So I'm going to leave, again, a little bit of a air bubble at the top. I don't know how much. Let's leave it about like that, maybe. Can you see that? That's the size air bubble. And there's little ones from caused from the oil in the water being put in. Eventually it will make its way and they will connect into that one air bubble. So let me get my water drips that leaked out here. And there it is. That's how we filled it. Obviously I can't flip it, because if I do that, my liquid will come out. So let's see if I can hold my thumb. I'm going to shake it here off camera. Can you hear me shaking it? It's like it's all stuck down here. Dilemma. What's the deal? Why would it do that? Why would everything fall down and then stick down there? Again, this is why I'm doing these experiments, so you know we can learn together as to how to make these bad boys. See that? Everything's floating on top. They're like, is it that they're stuck? Yes, I'm making a mess because I'm purposely letting some of the water come out to allow this to kind of move around. What are your thoughts, guys? Why isn't it moving well? Why isn't it giving me my shaker thing? Is there a reason for that? Okay, they're slowly getting there. Maybe it's because of the oil being in there that it won't allow them to freely shake. Let's see if I can add more water. Well, you know what? I'm going to leave it in there. Nope, that's not going to work either. Okay, come on out. Quit being sassy. Let me fit that back into my tip of my bottle. What do you think? I'm at a loss, guys. What's the cause? I'm trying to get my tip of my bottle back in. There we go. Oh, shoot. Boy, I'm having all kinds of obstacles. Now it decided to push way inside my bottle. Okay, got it. Well, back to the drawing board. When I added the liquid, everything became at a standstill. But before I added the liquid, when it was just empty, they were, flowing around just easy. So what's with the liquid that's causing it not to shake? I'm going to say that it's the oil. The oil is the culprit and not allowing it to shake? I don't know. Let's see if I can give it a really good shake. Things that make you go, Well, I don't know. I'm at a loss. What do you guys think? It's not allowing it to freely move. But the oil, it's really weird because the mineral oil is like, I thought that it would sit on the top and just separate real nice and allow, because, okay, in a normal shaker of things, when you put mineral oil, it just creates the pieces that you put in the shaker to move very slowly. Where if you put distilled water in there, they'll move, quicker, more faster. So my theory was, like I said, the oil would sit on top, the water would be on the bottom, and all these pieces would be in the water, and they would move around more freely. But they don't even want to move. Anybody got any ideas? Well, I think at this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get all my liquid back out and see if I can clean this out and fill it with just water. It's gonna take me a little bit of a process to do that because obviously water is not easy to get out, so I'm thinking I might even have to inject some soap in there. Oh Lord. Well, I'm not a happy camper. This experiment went south. But we're gonna keep trying. I'm not gonna give up. We'll get rid of all this water, which I'm doing right now over my paper towel. Let me get another one here. And yeah, I'm not going to bore you guys with this, but I think what I'm going to do is get another bottle out here, and I'm going to fill it with some soapy water and see if I can inject this in and shake it up and, you know, try to clean out as much of that oil as possible and see if that will help. I don't know. Stay tuned. Let's see what happens. Well, I can tell you that completely sucked. It was a mess to get all that mineral oil out of there, and it wasn't that much, but oh Lord, I can say I am thankful to Dawn Power Wash Spray. No, this is not an advertisement for them, nor am I getting paid by them, but I can say that that had helped me a lot to get it out. All those little bubbles that bubbles that you're seeing in there, that's just water. But I got everything out, all the oil at least. The problem is, I don't know why this boba, and this boba are stuck. And I even went to the point of taking a wire, fishing it in there and trying to stick it out. There was actually another one stuck there. I got one of them loose, but I cannot get those three out here. I cannot unstick those. I just give up. I mean, hey, learn from my mistakes, everybody. I am going to say, do not use mineral oil. You know, hey, if you guys got any other way that you know of how mineral oil works, great. Tell me in the comments below, because right now I can tell you it is not working for me in this experiment. I even scratched, you can see I scratched my acrylic or the epoxy resin a little bit there. I don't know if you can see if the camera will pick it up, but there is a little bit of a scratch right there. For me trying to fish those little puppies out up there. Anyway, we got it out. We're now going to go back to just distilled water. Again, people, when you are filling in using water, use distilled water. Not filtered water, just, you know, plain old good distilled water to make sure all the nasties are out of there. So right now, let's fill her up with just plain distilled water. No more oil. Oh, I'll tell you, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many times it took me to rinse and fill, wash with, you know, the Dawn Power Spray and repeat. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. You know, and then having clear water after that to get rid of as much water as possible. I mean, enough bubbles as possible out of all that. What a nightmare. But learn from my mistakes. That's all I ever say. Learn from mistakes. That's why we're doing what we're doing, right? You know, I'm doing this and I see these bubbles. I'm wondering if those are actual water bubbles or I think some residual oil left in there. I don't know. But at this point, I'm not even worrying about it. Let's, you know, I will just want to find something that's going to work and get us on with this experiment. Right now, the plain water seems to work. At least, you know, our things are shaking and moving in there. I'm going to probably release a little bit more of this out of here. Give it a little bit more air. Here, let me move this up so you can see what I'm doing. Using my paper towel down here to catch the drips as I drain it a little bit to give us a little bit more airflow on top here to allow it to move. So yeah, there. Now we're getting some more movements of our pieces in there. Much better. Who knows, maybe in time these three little guys will fall down on their own. That's kind of the goal. You know, hopefully. But for right now, this is working. At least our stuff is moving around. You know, and now I'm looking at it. It looks like this one is stuck here now too. Grr. Learn from my mistakes, people. That's why we're doing this. And I apologize if you can hear my dogs outside of my door barking at me. They hear me talking and they think somebody's in here with me. But it's not. It's just me in my office. Anywho, there. Distilled water. At this point in time, I would not do any kind of mineral oil. The distilled water definitely frees them and moves them much better. So this is what we're going to stick with, at least what I'm going to stick with from now on. Just plain distilled water. So, okay, that looks good. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip it up to its side to keep our good old liquid in there. And mix up, first of all, I'm going to make sure that we're all dried really well. And I'm going to mix up some resin so we can put inside our little hole here and close that up. And like I said, I think what I'm going to do is go along the whole edge here just to make sure that we're nice and smooth and just to reinforce that seam so we don't leak. So hang tight, I'll be right back as I mix up our resin to do so. Be back. All right, got my resin mixed up. And also I started thinking what I want to do, since this is such a line here and it's quite a noticeable line, and it could be due to my scratches from trying to loosen up those bubbas. But what I thought was I took a little bit of resin, just a small amount, and put just a tiny drop of some gold foil. And what I figured I'm going to try to do is use that to fill in the hole as much as possible. Let's see if it'll work. Here we go. You know, I come up with these ideas sometimes, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But you know, this is why I like to experiment, and why I decided to start putting things on videos is not just for me, but for you guys too. You guys can learn from my good things and my bad things. You'll know what works for you, and you won't waste things like I do. But you know, this is my hobby, and I'm learning. I love all different kind of art forms. I used to have my own jewelry business that I sold on Etsy many years back. And, you know, with working a full-time job and doing that on top of it, it just got to be too much for me. So I stopped for quite a few years. And I decided more recently that I wanted to pick something else back up. And I've got a few different kinds of art forms going right now. But the one that I've been focusing on the most is resin. I want to learn and understand how, you know, resin works and what works and what doesn't work with resin. So that's when I decided, you know, since I'm learning, hopefully you guys can learn from me too. So actually, look at that. That worked out pretty dang good, didn't it? It filled that hole in there that you can't even really tell it's there. Wowzers. I like that. That was a win, and it worked. Good idea.